What if there was a substance that could help you live longer, healthier, help you sleep, expand the time you're reproductive, and make you more stress resilient and just overall healthier? Now, there might be a substance that could be doing all of that. I'm talking about the peptide Epitalon today. Now, just be aware that most peptides are currently not approved for human use. They're research purpose only. However, you can buy them and experiment with them yourself if you're that way inclined. Now, Epithalon has actually been around for quite a long time. It was discovered in the 70s by some Russian researchers. They were looking for ways to improve their cosmonauts and their army resilience and make them stronger, less trouble with the jet lag and the different time zones, circadian rhythm problems. And they found Epitalon, or a slightly different version of it, and then they created Epithalon and experimented with it. So there's been a lot of research on it, and what it does, it's shown to be helping something called telomerase. Now, what does that mean? When we're talking about aging, there's something called the hallmarks of aging. When we're thinking about longevity and health span improvement, we're usually talking about how can we live longer without running into health issues such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cardiovascular disease like strokes and heart attacks, cancers, diabetes, all these things that most people are slightly worried about if they get older. And the whole longevity field is about how can you not just live longer but also stay healthy while living longer. Now, what they found is that there's one underlying factor that connects a lot of these health-related issues that we're worried about, and that is telomeres. Telomeres are little protective caps that are at the end of our genes, and they are like on shoelaces, little plastic caps that help protect these shoelaces from fraying. Same thing happens to our DNA. They have these little protective caps called telomeres. Now, as we get older, usually these telomeres start to slowly break down, and eventually the DNA might start to fray, and then we have problems with our health. Now, there is a substance called telomerase. It's an enzyme that keeps those caps healthy and keeps them staying intact. What they found is that in normal human aging, that naturally declines, and then we get older and our DNA starts to decline. However, in cancer cells, that still stays, so it makes cancer cells practically immortal, which is a problem. What they then found, though, is that there are certain ways that we can stimulate that telomerase, that enzyme that keeps our caps, these protective caps, stronger and healthier, and that is Epithalon. So they found a way of helping our own healthy cells to become slightly more immortal and stay healthier for longer, which obviously helps with longevity and health optimization. Now, what they found with this Epithalon is that it helps doing that by increasing telomerase activity, which is wonderful, but also by, as a side effect, it helps our sleep, our circadian rhythm, really important. I see this all the time with a lot of my clients that travel all the time, a lot of CEOs, entrepreneurs, constant time zone differences, flying back and forth different continents. They have big circadian rhythm disruptions, and Epithalon has been shown to help with that, which is wonderful. It helps stimulate the natural circadian rhythm, our inner clock in the body, to produce melatonin at the right time. Now, as we get older, melatonin usually starts to decline as well, and melatonin is actually really important for a lot of processes in the body, not just sleep, but it's also an antioxidant. And what research shows is that Epithalon and melatonin help produce antioxidants in the body that reduce oxidative stress, which also cause decline of the body over time, contributing to cellular decline. So those are just some other wonderful benefits from it. And a lot of people are having trouble sleeping, right? Epithalon might be beneficial for that. Now, it has other benefits as well. Research suggests it helps to extend the health span of our eggs. So in females, often as we get slightly older, reproductive years start to get longer, our egg quality declines, and they found that Epithalon might actually help keep that health span and that egg quality there for longer. It has even been shown to help optimize our cycles. So if there are problems with the cycles, which a lot of women have, they have what was formerly known PCOS, now it's called PMOS, where the cycles are really irregular. It might help with that. It can also help with elevated levels of prolactin, which is a a hormone that can mess with our cycles and our reproductive health. So this Epithalon works in our pineal gland in our brain, so it actually helps to stimulate a lot of different processes in the body. So that's also wonderful. It's also been shown to support our immune system and our eye health. It stops it from degrading. It helps with wound healing, in particular if there are people that have issues with wound healing from high blood sugar, which I see all the time. A lot of my clients come in to my practice with they're pre-diabetic, they have constant blood sugar that might not be in the extreme range, but they're constantly above optimal, constantly causing micro damage. Epithalon might be helping repair some of that. So those are all wonderful tricks and tools that it does. It also, and this is a really experimental study that found that it might be beneficial for acute kidney failure. So that also is to be stayed tuned. But those are just animal studies. So just be aware that those studies mostly have been done on animals, and we don't really fully know yet how safe they are in humans. Even though the Russians have been studying it for quite a long time, there aren't as many Western studies to prove the benefit and the safety profile. So just be wary of that if you do want to experiment. Now, I talked about cancer and the telomerase activity and how it makes cells immortal. The obvious thought process would then be to be cautious and say, well, wait, if it does that to cancer cells, could it potentially strengthen cancer cells, improve, or make cancer risk or worsen it? Now, what research actually shows is that even though that could be a theoretical concern, in reality, it hasn't been shown that way yet. They've done different research studies, and so far, it actually shows to do the opposite. It shows to reduce cancer risk, and it shows to reduce metastasis. So it's potentially actually cancer protective, in addition to being lifespan expanding and health span expanding. So that could be a really wonderful tool. Again, be aware it's still just for research purposes, but it might be something to look into. I definitely am. I like to experiment with certain things, but always make sure if you do experiment that you have a good product, because there are a lot of products out there that might be contaminated. You're injecting them, so you must make sure it's a good quality product before, so you don't run into issues. You don't inject anything that might be contaminated or such. And also work with someone that actually knows what they're doing, and always be aware that this is just for research purposes. I hope you found this helpful. I would love to hear from you. Please comment below and tell me, have you experimented with peptides? Have you experimented with Epitalon? What are your experiences? Has it helped you sleep? Has it helped you with stress levels, with your circadian rhythm? Or has it done anything else that you maybe weren't expecting quite yet? All right,